What up, sports fans? Waxon Wednesday, J Wax Man, top level, let two kids talk sports. Let's do this. All right. What a historically awful season to be a White Sox fan. So, just to recap, they went 41 and 121. So, and by the way, this is the White Sox of 2024. They set an MLB record 121 losses on the season, passing a previous Mets team which lost 120 games. So they went 41, 121. You can make the case that arguably this White Sox team is the worst in MLB history, or at least the worst. They're at the very least the worst team in modern MLB history. That much can be said. Now, the news gets worse and things are only going to get worse for White Sox fans. And I was talking with my friend Tyler Lavalette. We were talking about the White Sox, and he told me something that I could not believe. Like, whoa, out of nowhere. So, Tyler Lavalette informed me hours ago that the White Sox could be sold to a group that has ties to Nashville, which could potentially mean that their days in the South Side are over. And I asked him, are you saying there's a chance that the White Sox could leave Chicago, or at least the South Side? And he said, leave Chicago entirely if the plan to build a new stadium that in that unused piece of land dubbed the 78 goes nowhere. First of all, I didn't know the White Sox were looking to build a new stadium. Me and Tyler had just been to Guaranteed Rate Field when we went to Chicago back in August. I didn't realize they were already thinking about looking to build a new baseball field to replace it. But then again, like I said, I'm not the biggest baseball fan. I don't understand all the logistics of the sport. But my goodness. But still, with all that being said, I just cannot like it. Even though the White Sox did terrible this year, I can't, and I'm not a White Sox fan, but I cannot fathom the idea of the White Sox, or I just can't go with the idea of the White Sox actually leaving Chicago. And the reason being is they're still, as many bad seasons as they had, and as historically of a bad season as they had this year, they're still one of the regal franchises of Major League Baseball. And in terms of baseball history, they've been around for a long time. Been one of the longest running baseball franchises in the MLB. They go back as far as, the early 1900s and the 1910s. How could you forget the Black Sox scandal when they threw away the World Series? And for the record, like I said, there's only room for one in my heart. I'm a Cubs fan. But the White Sox, as much as I dislike them, they're one of those historic franchises of baseball history. They've been around a long time. So the idea of them relocating to a city like Nashville, I don't know what to think about that, honestly. That is crazy. That's one of the White Sox, they don't relocate. They're not one of those franchises. They're one of the classic regal franchise, historic franchises. They've been around for some time. I'm not even a fan of the White Sox. Yes, I know I'm a Cubs fan. I don't care about... You're like, well, actually, you don't care about the White Sox. What gives me... It's just the fact that I like sports history, too. And a franchise that's been around as long as the White Sox like that and relocating to another city, it's just not something I can really process in my mind. But if it does happen, just, wow. I will feel really bad for White Sox fans, especially the diehard White Sox fans who live in Chicago. And that would be a blow to Chicago sports. From the historical side of things, they've been around almost as long as Chicago sports have been around, when you think about Chicago baseball, it's the Cubs and the White Sox. It's both. Pick a side, whoever you're on. It's kind of the same thing in New York with the Mets and the Yankees, Pick a side. But, oh my goodness. And you know what? Granted, maybe this team does need a change of scenery. Something's got to change. And Jerry Riesdorf, he's got to sell the team, all right? They need new ownership. They need new hope there and within that organization. And sadly, as much as I don't like it, if the move is what it takes, then so be it. But other than that, it just the idea of one of those the longest existing baseball franchises in Major League Baseball history just suddenly moving away and the Chicago White Sox just ceasing to exist and becoming a different team. I just wow. I'll be shocked if it happens. That's what I gotta say about it. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it still could. And holy cow, that is a that would be a seismic shift in the landscape of baseball, let alone all of sports. The effects of it would be seismic, to say the least. So we'll see what more comes out of this. This, especially after the White Sox just had probably the worst season in modern MLB history. But my goodness, they've been around longer than the modern days of Major League Baseball, and just like I said, cannot fathom. Like, I don't like the White Sox. I dislike them because I'm a Cubs fan at heart. But this idea of one of the longest existing franchises in MLB history just disappearing and becoming something else, just something I cannot fathom right now. And we'll see what more comes out of this. But if the White Sox do relocate, damn, that is seismic. Just the ramifications will be seismic. That's where I leave this topic. Holy cow. I mean, historic seismic shift, for lack of better words. All right. We're going to talk more about Purdue football for point number 2. Now, they lost to Illinois, lost the cannon to Illinois. But amazingly, unlike previous games this season where Purdue has just not looked competitive at all, the Boilermakers in this game against a good Fighting Illini team, we got to take the silver lining here. They actually fought all the way to the end and just came up short. And one of the big reasons why Purdue football looked better in this game than it has all in this previous game than it has all of this season is there was a change in the quarterback position. So Hudson Card, who's the starter for Purdue, he was out this previous week with, from what I understand, was concussion symptoms. I don't 100% know that, cannot confirm it or deny it. And so Ryan Browne, the redshirt freshman, was thrown into the mix. He was the starting quarterback, and wow, can't say I saw this coming. He balled out in his first game, let alone against a very good Big Ten opponent, and he threw for over 200 yards. I think over 250 yards, and had, I believe, if I'm correct, 3 or 4 touchdowns in that game. Those are numbers you just don't see. And he completed a lot of his passes, of course. I could go in deeper into that. But I think, regardless of how the rest of this Purdue season goes, or how the football season goes for the Purdue Boilermakers, this team might have something in this guy. Ryan Browne, I will say this. For Ryan Browne, he committed a couple of years back, and I kind of thought, okay, seems like a Purdue guy, hard worker, but he looks like a quarterback right now that's better than expected. Putting up those big numbers against Illinois, and almost led Purdue to victory, but he missed it. He did the one mistake he made in that game against Illinois. He took really good care of the football, ran when he needed to, threw great. Some of the spirals he was throwing was beautiful. Just missed Devin Mockabee on what could have been the game-winning 2-point conversion. But that's the only mistake he really made in that game. And, it was only his first start. But there's something special in this kid. And Purdue might have something very, very special. It's just a matter of keeping a hold of him and making sure he doesn't transfer after the season, regardless of what happens. But to have a guy like this, to have someone who has hidden capabilities of uplifting a football team like Ryan Browne, that could be an asset going forward. And that can do a lot of wonder to turn the morale of this team around. And this could be It makes some of us Purdue fans wonder, why wasn't he starting? And look, Hudson Card's a good guy, okay? Hudson Card's a good guy. I can understand why Purdue went and brought in Hudson Card, but now after seeing Ryan Browne just go off like fireworks against Illinois, I'm starting to wonder, has Purdue been starting the wrong quarterback this whole time? Was the system really built? Was this offensive system really not tailored to Hudson Card, but in reality, was it built for a quarterback like Ryan Browne to excel in? That's now what I'm wondering. And going forward, sorry, Hudson Card, my apologies. Hope you get your degree from Purdue. Hope you finish it on. Get your degree. But Ryan Browne's the guy going forward. If I'm Ryan Walters, Ryan Browne is the guy going forward. Put him at quarterback. Let's develop him. He's not always going to have the kind of games that he had against Illinois. There are going to be some struggles too. But if Purdue's going to win a game or another game, if Purdue's going to win another game this season, maybe two, if they're going to win another game this season, your best chance right now is keeping Ryan Browne in at quarterback. Sure, he's got plenty to learn from, plenty to grow in to do, plenty to learn. But there's a lot of promise, and he's got a lot of talent, a lot of poise, looked confident in the pocket, and gets the ball off quickly, which is important. And you got to develop him, okay? You got to let him grow, let him get experience, get him minutes. And Purdue, the Boilermakers, they got a big game. 2 days from now, on Friday, it's the blackout game, or the hammer down cancer game, against the Ducks of Oregon, who are number 2 in the nation. Purdue's going to be a long shot, but with Ryan Browne at the helm at quarterback, they might have a chance to make some noise on Friday night, as well as for the rest of the season. So, obviously, this is a lost season for Purdue. But right now, if I'm Ryan Walters, and if Ryan Walters wants to save his job, give Ryan Browne as many reps and as much experience as possible. Let him play the rest of the season. All right? He is the starting quarterback going forward. And if you want to turn things around, if you want to get things going in a positive direction for 2025, then you know what? Build around Ryan Browne. All right? Get him a good NIL deal. Get him what he needs, But more importantly, Ryan Browne right now looks, lot for him to work on, as a quarterback. He's not perfect, and he's but he's also only a freshman. But right now, if there is hope for Purdue football, it rests in the hands of Ryan Browne. That's where I'll leave this subject. All right. And speaking of football, my goodness. Okay, the NFC North, what the heck happened? It's not like this stuff just happens overnight, but the NFC North, in terms of divisions, they are the best. The NFC North is the best division in football right now. And the records show it. There's no question about it. As of now. That could change later on through the season, but the NFC North, for the first time in a while, is a frickin' gauntlet. So far, all 4 teams in the NFC North, all 4 of them, winning records. You got the Vikings at 5-0. The Lions, I think at 5-1, I believe. Of course, they just came off a bye week. I could be wrong. And then you got the Packers and the Bears, who are both 4-2. I mean, Green Bay, of course, no surprise they're doing well, but Chicago, hey, the Bears are looking better, and Caleb Williams continues to progress, as I've said before. But right now, this division just looks so brutal. It is no cakewalk. And all those teams are good. Even the Vikings, all of them got talent. And all of them looking strong to start. So now, it leads to one question. Which of these teams... Well, there's the potential for all 4 of them to be in the NFC playoffs. That's just bonkers. All 4 NFC North teams could make the playoffs. Not an impossibility, but probably a low probability it happens. I mean, I could probably see at least, as of right now, at least 3 of them. I think one of them is not going to make it. And it's just a matter of which one is not going to make it. But you never know. All 4 could get there. Okay, Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I know the Vikings are undefeated, but the Lions are still the best team in that division. Okay, and they've proven it. They absolutely went into Jerry World and just not only embarrassed the Cowboys, they mauled them 47-9. Oh man, and let alone on Jerry Jones' birthday, the Lions handed Jerry Jones a birthday present of their own. The worst loss in Jerry Jones' career as the owner of the Cowboys, arguably. So I still think the Lions are the best team in that division. The Packers are the Packers. Pains me to say that. Can't stand them, but they're still young, still talented. They'll find a way to the postseason. So that leaves us with the Vikings and the Bears. Now, the one thing you can say about my Bears, and it's very true, most of their they have 4 wins this season, but 3 of those wins have come against teams that are below .500. So they have not beaten really a playoff team at the moment. And the best team the Bears have played so far is Houston. Just came up short in that match. They beat a Titans team, you could say, because the Titans self-destructed. And then the other 3 teams, the Rams are probably the best team the Bears have beaten so far this season. Out of all the teams they've played and won against, the Rams are probably the Bears' best win so far. And they're pretty much just injured to hell and back. And of course the Panthers are stuck in limbo, and the Jaguars, things are not looking too good in Jacksonville. So what I'm saying is, look, I don't want to take the Bears. They're a good team, okay, but I'm not sure they're a playoff team until they beat someone who is a playoff team, playoff caliber team. So until then, there is the possibility that the Bears, and you know what, you got to go win those division games. Can the Bears win a division game? We'll see. I mean, try not to doubt my Bears. Caleb's looking good. Like I said, I think Caleb Williams, he's going to be I think he's going to be a mighty good quarterback. He's looking like a mighty good quarterback, and I'm now starting to believe he's going to be a mighty good quarterback. But will the Bears be a playoff team this year? We'll see. If they're going to have to win at least half, maybe even 4 of their division games to really have a chance to get to the postseason. And then there's the, and there's the question of when they do meet up against these really good caliber teams, which they will. Will they have enough to beat him? Will the growth of Caleb Williams be evident in those games? That's something I want to see. So, the Bears, they're going to need to beat somebody good in order to prove themselves as a playoff team. Can they do it? That is the question. And then there's the Vikings, of course. Now, okay, they got talent. They're good. They're undefeated. And they've beaten some good teams, like the 49ers and the Packers, okay? They've beaten good teams. But there's something I just can't help but ponder. Has this team really despite beating the Niners and the Packers, I still have questions about whether or not this Minnesota Viking team is really good enough to be in the playoffs. And one thought that comes to my mind, are they really that good? Or have they just been outplaying or playing out of their minds? Have they been overplaying their talent level or their potential level? Have they been on a hot streak? And they played the Lions on Sunday night. Or maybe not Sunday night, but this Sunday at least. They played the Detroit Lions, and that's going to be a tough contest. The Vikings will have a chance to prove folks like me wrong, but if they lose this game, and I do wonder, will they crash back to earth? They've started 5-0 before. They had a quarterback by the name of Sam Bradford one season when they started 5-0, and they missed the playoffs that year. I have my gut feeling is telling me that history is primed to repeat itself. And this Vikings team, despite 5-0, this is a team that could, despite starting 5-0, they could miss the playoffs. It can happen. Because there's a part of me that thinks that they are outplaying their potential and outplaying their talent. Like they're outplaying way above where they should be in terms of the team chemistry as a whole. So maybe they're just playing way better than they should be. But what happens when they lose that momentum? Will they be able to get it back? So what I'm saying is, look, not saying this Vikings team isn't good. They're still But how good, that's a mystery. Are they good enough to be a playoff team? That's a mystery. And you know what? Despite the Vikings starting 5-0, I'm actually really I'm actually skeptical of them. I just have a feeling, I've got a feeling that that's a team that's actually going to miss the playoffs. But you know what? I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. And the Vikings will have a chance. You know what? Hey, wouldn't surprise me if they prove me wrong either, but in conclusion, it also wouldn't surprise me if they actually do miss the playoffs based on past history and just, the wonders that is football and playing out of your minds at the NFL level. But overall, NFC North division, do not underestimate that division. It is literally a gauntlet as things stand right now. On to this day in sports history, and on this day, this is a really sad day, sports fans. On this day, the 16th of October, 2011, IndyCar legend Dan Weldon he ended up in a crash at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and sadly passed away from his injuries after that crash. He was only 33 at the time. And Dan Weldon, God rest your soul. Hard to believe. That was 13 years ago to this day that Dan Weldon tragically passed away at Las Vegas after injury sustained in a race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. All right, sports fans, that's all I got for this week's Waxon Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching, and this is Jake Waxman from Two Guys Talk Sports, wishing you all a good week.